Hey everybody, and welcome to ChiuStream, where we talk about art and life as an artist. I'm your host, Bobby Chiu, and I also have on here my bunch of friends, co-hosts, things like that. We have Masay Seki on here
Hello.
and Matt Johnson on here. And today we're also using, well, first, we always use Slido.com. Oops, that intro just kept going, didn't it?
It's
Okay,
okay.
let's
People
do
can
that
enjoy
again.
it.
So, yeah, welcome, ChiuStream. Here we go. My name's Bobby, and we also have on here Masay Seki, Matt Johnson, and Patricia from the Netherlands. She's helping out with Discord, which I will get into just in a second. But for now, as always, if you want to ask a question, we also use Slido.com in case you don't want to, you know, speak into the microphone and everything, which you can do on Discord, which I will tell you in a bit. Yeah, Slido.com, hashtag ChiuStream, type in your questions, upvote the questions that you'd like to get answered the most. And yeah, so this is going to be really fun. I have a brand new painting video for everybody. So there we go. Masay, I'm so sorry. I didn't add your name on there.
Oh no, that's cool.
It was kind of like last minute, like, oh my God, Masay, can you come on here as well?
I'd be like, yeah, I want to join.
Yeah, so you can see on screen, you can see that we also have a Discord on there, and you can join our server there. Right, Patricia? I think.
Right, right.
Fantastic. And you can join on there, and then you can probably like talk to us as well, I think. Is that what's
You
going on?
can. Right now you can.
Perfect. Well, Patricia, she is the boss over there on Discord. She will help you out if you need her. Her username is Gart Gartry. I don't know.
Yeah, Gartery.
Okay, Gartry. Okay, there we go. So that way we can talk live. How fun will that be? All right.
This is
So
one of the bigger groups, Bobby.
it is. We're trying stuff. We're always
Yeah.
trying
It's
stuff,
always
right?
nice to
Like it. It's
hang
like a
out.
absolutely. It's like a morning talk show. I like it.
Right? So the Breakfast Club or whatever, The View. I
The
don't
view.
I don't know. I don't watch any of this kind of stuff, but yeah, I wanted to just give a little explanation. And then I'm also painting here. Well, I'm not painting live, but this was a painting I just did yesterday for y'all, so you can kind of watch the process. This painting in particular, um, you guys on Discord will have to also check out YouTube to see this live. Uh, but yeah, this one in particular is done in a slightly different version, a different way again. This is after I started practicing Procreate, which was awesome. Big shouts out to Procreate. Procreate 5 is coming out, but guess who has an advanced copy, a little beta version?
Ooh, little sneak
I do.
peek.
Yes. So, been messing around with that, and that kind of inspired me. I was trying to bring the way that I paint in Photoshop into um, Procreate and see if I could do the same thing. And then through Procreate, I was like, man, there's a lot of really cool stuff on here. I wonder if I could do the same thing in Photoshop. So that's what this one's all about.
Mm.
Yeah, and
It's
big
great. Did
shouts
you
out.
find?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you give that shout out. I got a question.
Okay. I was just going to give a big shout out to Nico Lockerston. Uh, he is brilliant. He is so like up there in Procreate knowledge. I just want to give him a big shout out because it's through him, it's through this schoolism class that he's developing that I also get a sneak peek at that really taught me how to use Procreate in a painterly cool uh, way.
It's awesome. Do you feel like it's faster?
Procreate not right now because I'm so I'm like I don't even look at my keyboard when I'm pressing on keyboard keys in Photoshop anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
That
very
makes
quick in
sense.
Photoshop. But I can definitely see the potential. Yeah.
Yeah, I think once you get used to the hotkeys on Photoshop, it's like you just do it automatically. But when
Yeah.
same here for Procreate, when I use it, it's like, where's this tool again? And I'm just like searching everywhere. It does break the flow, but definitely I could see how beneficial like the whole program itself can be for artists.
Total. One thing I love about Procreate is the traditional kind of texture that you get the in your paint,
Yes.
you know, brush
Yeah.
strokes and stuff like that, right? And what I do in Procreate is thank you Nico for showing me how to change my preferences and shortcuts and all that stuff. I changed it so whenever I use my finger to paint on Procreate, I'm smudging.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so I'm painting with two hands at the same time.
Is that any iPad that you get, or is this like the newest iPad?
I don't know.
I'm guessing.
Like I have the newest iPad and I freaking dropped it on my last day in LA. But yeah, and that's why I'm painting in Photoshop now because my iPad's busted.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think
Good.
it's in both. I'm pretty darn sure it's in both.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious because I have the older iPad and want to see if I can do the same thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you can.
Okay.
And then with this, you know, it's a pain to paint a bunch of brush strokes, and then you have to go over to your tool set and select the smudge tool and do kind of like the same thing, right?
Yeah.
That's a pain. And the smudge tool is pretty much one of the only tools on that toolbar that doesn't have a hotkey.
Oh.
Yeah. So what I did was I programmed one of the keys on my pen into a shortcut for the smudge tool, right?
Yeah.
So I could paint, press a key on my pen, and then I'm smudging.
Neat.
So the way that you do that, just a little tip for everybody, you can go into actions, you make a new action, and then you just you select the smudge tool, and then you press stop on the action, right? So that's the only action it'll do. And then that action, you can set it. If you just double click on it, you could set it to have a shortcut like F1, F2, F3. And then you program that into the Wacom settings of your pen so that the front button is F2 now.
That's cool.
Super long-winded, trying to help people out. It's been awesome though. You gotta try it. You gotta try it because just like the flow of it makes it so much better than if you painted a bit, had to go to the side, select the smudge tool, and so on and so forth.
Now, are you still painting in the method you used on the last video that you did, where you're not only
No,
where you, yeah,
totally not. Totally not. That's why, like, I've been really enjoying these streams because it just, I have to paint something. It's for myself so I can experiment, right? So it's been
it's
awesome like
awesome.
that. Yeah. Anyhow,
Now,
there's a lot of questions coming in. What do you say, Matt? We go to one of the questions.
and real quick, let's just say shout out to people all over the world.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Germany, Puerto
Airport in
Rico, and
Oregon.
yeah,
You
Brazil,
know, you guys
India.
are great for, joining us at all hours of the day. I'm always just impressed by that. So we've got a good question here from Lamp is the first one up. Thank you, Lamp. Do you ever study biology or other natural sciences to inform your creatures? I
Love
think I
it.
know the answer, but
Yeah, totally. I love learning about just like how the world works. Uh, actually, big shout out to my buddy Masay here because she told me one of my most favorite podcasts right now.
Yay! I
You
love
want to
that.
talk about it?
Yes, on Spotify there is actually I think you can listen to it on different platforms as well.
Mm-hmm.
There is a podcast called Ologies, like psychology and like some.
The one that I listened to that really got me was the one on spiders.
I didn't listen to that one.
I don't know if it's just called spiderology. I'm pretty sure I'm just making up that word. It's probably like arachnology, something. But yeah, super fascinating.
Yeah, hosted by Ali Ward. Every week she always has a new topic, a new guest. They pretty much know everything about what it is that they're talking about. They also have about like dinosaurs and mushrooms to all these like crazy topics that you probably know nothing about, but she makes it in this like really fun, like quirky way, interviewing all these people.
It doesn't feel like you're in science class.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like you're at the coffee shop and one of your friends brought this crazy scientist, and now you guys are just asking all the questions you want to ask. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
Great
isn't
podcast.
that's like that feels like the way that so many podcasts go now, where you're just like you're learning while you're being entertained, and I love that. And can I zoom out a second for both of you, Masay and Bobby? This is a question from me to both of you about this. You, it's not just then about looking at references for animals and for plants. It's about learning how these things work because you both have such excellent stories in your artwork. And to make these creatures do things in your stories, you have to have kind of that third layer of understanding, not just picture reference, right?
Well, yeah, and also it's like some of those things that happen in life are so unbelievable. It'd be hard to imagine them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like can I tell a little story about the silkworms in New Zealand? I think I told you.
Yes,
I know
please.
I told you this one. This is so good. We go to this tour in New Zealand, um, going into this cave with water and going deep into the cave, and then we can kind of see stars in the sky. But it's not. It's still daytime outside. These are glowworms that are on the ceiling of the cave. And so the tour guide's telling us they glow to attract the flies.
Mm.
Well, and then when they eat enough, they cocoon up, and then they reemerge as this little fly with no mouth. And they only have 24 hours to mate before they starve to death and die. And so they go through that,
Right.
and then, you know, then they're starving, they look up, they see these little stars in the sky, and then they start to fly towards them. Little do they know that it's actually themselves as the worm, right?
That's freaky.
So it's this totally enclosed ecosystem.
You
And they
ever
just
watch like
feed off each other.
That's like Creature
it's
Black
so
Mirror.
crazy that Creature Black Mirror. Yes. No words. The entire episode. It's perfect. You ever watch Blue Planet? I think on Netflix. Like they did an
Love it.
episode on like the deep, like into the
Oh,
the Mariana Trench. Oh my gosh, that stuff is wild.
if I could come back as an animal of any kind in my next life, I would pick a giant squid because they can go into depths of the ocean where nobody has been.
Oh.
Some fierce looking fish down there. I mean, just all teeth. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different
Yeah,
world
let's
down
ask
there.
it. What about you, Marseille? Do you feel like you learn a lot of story from kind of learning about biology and things like that? Does that kind of like tingle your inspiration sensors when
It
you're hearing
does.
that stuff?
Yeah, it definitely does. It kind of like sparks a different idea. It's like, let's just say you had one story moment that you want to illustrate, but to make it more interesting, you if you listen to something else and then if you combine it, it becomes this whole like, it's like maybe like a cliche story moment, but then it's unique because it involves like other creatures from the real world, but no one's done that yet because it's just very different. So
Combining
yeah,
that.
so it does help when you want to come up with original ideas.
You make it sound so easy.
No, it's not easy at all.
Right. Let's go to a new question here. Anonymous asks, how do you go about losing the fear to create your own art? I can do studies just fine, but emotionally exhausting to create.
Mm. Do you ever go through that? Some like paralysis when you're looking at the blank page?
All the time.
I think a lot of times we start the art at the wrong stage. We skip a few steps. I think the one step that I have more and more appreciation for is the step before actually putting pencil to paper, the idea. And just sitting there thinking about the idea. And I think like a lot of the paralysis that I might get, because I go through it as well, is when I have zero ideas and I'm still trying to draw. Right? It's like everything, it's like, this same shape again. It looks like one of, the things I've drawn 100 times. But sometimes the other thing is that we are so eager to get to that end result, and we don't think about it like an athlete or a singer or whatever. Like all these people, they warm up, right? And we just want to start painting our incredible, masterful painting instantly. I think that's a big thing too. So, for Anonymous, I think he or she is concentrating on the wrong aspect of the art, right? It's all about perspective. Say to yourself, hey, first 20 minutes, we're not going to use any of that. It's all going to be in the trash. This is all warm up. You're doing your time to get all of those muscles, all of those mental creative muscles warmed up. Anything anybody wants to add? Cool. Why don't we go on to the next question? What do you say?
Yeah, for sure.
Also, sorry.
Yeah.
I would love to get some people on the Discord thing here. To have some live speaking interaction. So, any of those people that can see the bottom of the screen right there, hop on Discord. Hop on the live hangout part on Discord, and you could ask your question live. And then you will be forever embedded, forever, encased into YouTube in one of these ChiuStreams.
So while we wait for someone to come up from Discord, which we would love, Mad Marzo asks, any advice for a good training regimen for someone who isn't young and wants to reach pinnacles of art greatness?
I could give a whole crapload of advice about that, but I think the best advice has already been written. It's called The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. It's not just for people that might be not as young or whatever. It's for anybody that wants to learn at accelerated rates, wants to learn very, very effectively. This is a person that was a master chess champion, as an 18-year-old or something like that, and then later on becomes master Wing Chun champion, martial arts, which is completely different. So for him, it was like not about being really good at this thing or that thing. Of course, I'm just speaking for him. I don't know him, but that's what I'm assuming. And then it was much more about how to learn, right? And then you can really do it. But for those of you that don't like to read, I'll give you the Cole's notes. Start off with something simple and start to slowly expand from that. So start from a cube or whatever, wherever your simple level is, and then really learn how to master that cube. How do you paint that cube in 3-point perspective, and imagining that this cube is 10,000 feet tall and you're just this tiny little speck. All these different ways, and then you start painting a sphere, and so on and so forth. In the end, all of these objects, we're all just made out of spheres, cones, and cubes, and so on and so forth. Hope that makes sense. A lot of the greatest learning is in the boringest stuff, I would say.
The
if I could give
fundamentals.
2 cents on that, I think um, it's easy to predefine yourself as having a limitation also that you may not have.
Mm.
Like feeling that you're not that it's a young man's game, or that you need to live in a certain city to become successful at something. Like, you don't have to predefine yourself as that. There's plenty of people who start at all ages and become amazing at these things. So feel
Yeah.
encouraged by that. Take
Patience,
your age as
patience.
wisdom. Yeah.
I like
Great.
this
Okay.
next question here. How do you think
Mm-hmm.
rejection from studios should be handled? Now, I wonder, like, how should the studios handle rejecting people? Or how do you yourself handle rejection?
I'm guessing that Anonymous is an executive at a studio and needs this advice.
Yeah, man, that's a tough one. That's why I don't like to do co op. Like, I don't
Mm.
like to put out a thing for co op students, even though I know, like, a lot of students are always asking if I'm doing co op. Because once I put that out there, I can only say yes to one person. All these other people I'm going to say no to, and then I feel like, oh, what if they hate me forever? Yeah. And little side note, okay, this one's kind of funny. Domishi, the great Domishi that is at Pixar, that won the Oscar for Bao and all that great
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Way back in the day, she applied for co op at Imaginism Studios. I saw her stuff. Incredible. Beyond, beyond, and the only thing was, I didn't need a storyboard artist. I didn't need a person that will draw a bunch of designs that then I'll paint. It just felt funny like that, and
Mm.
usually, anyways, we wouldn't. She didn't fit into what we needed,
Mm-hmm.
even though she was beyond qualified for pretty much anything. Um, yeah, I always wondered. I hope at that time, anyways. I'm sure she's completely fine now. Um, but at that time, if she felt like, oh, I felt like, oh, she didn't belong or whatever, she wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think that there's a sense of like, don't take those things too personally, because like there's a million reasons why you could get rejected from a
Yeah,
studio, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
and she is off to much more amazing things now. High up there in Pixar and doing all sorts of amazing things and working on her feature. Yeah, so great to see her succeed.
I say, do you have any moments you can remember where you're like, oh man, you got rejected and you had to like kind of psych yourself up about it, or just move on, or how do you handle those things?
Actually, funny thing, the first time I applied to the studio because I heard from my friend that you guys were looking for an assistant. I
Mm-hmm.
applied, but then
Yeah, you didn't get
I
it.
didn't get it, and then I was bummed, but like I just thought like, hey, it's cool just meeting you guys at the studio, having like an interview.
And that was totally why I ended up going, yeah, please, like, I would like to hire you.
Yeah, I think after the interview, you saw me at Fan
Toronto.
Expo.
Yeah, Fan
Yeah.
Expo, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, cool, you remember me. Like, even just that, I was like pretty happy about. But I think at when the time when I got the rejection email, I just thought of it as like, okay, like, it's just one thing that I have to go through. It's not like in life you can just get everything that you want. So it was just a good learning experience. And that's just the way I saw it. Other than, like, rather than being like, oh, they didn't want me because, like, I
Mm-hmm.
was a not great person or, like, my art was bad or anything like that. Just
Well,
trying to look at it the positive side.
and like on the flip side of things, how you took it was really, it was the reason. It wasn't like it was a test. Like, I'm gonna reject everybody the first time or something and see how you handle it. But it just so happened that you took it super well, and when I saw you again, you're just as friendly as when I first talked to you.
Mm.
And that showed to me that you were genuine. You're a genuine, honest person that really like kind of expresses this is how you are, and that is absolutely super, super duper high on my value list of like people that I want to be associated with. The worst is when somebody tells you something, you're like, ah, they're totally lying. That's not how they feel. Stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, it's not healthy. Anyways, I just saw somebody climb onto the live hangout in Discord and then pop off again. So if you're there,
Yeah.
come
I
on back in.
I'm speaking to him now. He couldn't hear you. I don't know what's happening, but I'm
Oh,
talking with
That's
him to
weird.
yeah to help him out. So maybe
oh,
he will join later.
thank you, Patricia.
When we get it working, it will be awesome. In the meantime, Rodrigo Raver asks, the more technical skills help. We will help, Rodrigo. The more technical skills I learn, the less creative I feel I am. How can I create these surreal images without staying too much in the technical stuff?
Yes. You know
Mm.
why? Because you haven't learned it well enough.
Mm.
And I'm not trying to knock on anybody. This is part of the whole learning process. Like when I was talking about, I don't need to look at the keyboard anymore when I'm painting. Um, it needs to come. You need to know it so well. It's like second nature. And really, that's how learning happens as well. You're doing great, and then you learn something new. You stiffen up. Your stuff looks like garbage. You're going, why am I even learning this in the first place? And then you get over that hump, and then things are coming a lot more naturally and everything fluid, and then all of a sudden you level up. That's a pretty
That's
simple one.
great. Yeah, really is. Anonymous, our next question here. What is a good way to practice form on a regular basis? I find that periodically my form skills fail when studying other disciplines.
The best freaking one I heard. The best one I heard is from Oscar nominee uh, Robert Valley, who I will be seeing very shortly in Dublin next week. So if you guys are coming out to Dublin Schools and Workshop, I'll see you there. Um, he told me the best one, which is super difficult. He would do his life drawings and then, figure drawings, and then he'd take them home and he would animate them rotating. Wow. You really need to understand your structure and everything to be able to do that well. What a great practice.
That sounds hard.
That sounds very hard, yeah.
Yeah. Because then your
Really
life drawing that you draw has to be like not perfect, but all the information needs to be there to understand where's this leg, is this in perspective, like how's this behind the body and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
right. And also, it's like, you do a normal 2D hand drawn character design. There's a lot of simplification that happens. It's a lot easier to rotate when you are trying to rotate a figure that you drew from life. Oh my gosh, there's so many lumps and bumps and all this stuff. Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
have a
great tip.
new person here.
Oh, hello, new
Hey.
person.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hi, what's your name?
Well, my name's Malcolm, but I go by Malnosis on Discord.
right on, Malcolm. Where are you from?
I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. That's where I live right now.
Fantastic. And what's your question?
Oh, I was wondering, did you have any tips for getting into an internship, but it's past like 5 years after you graduated?
Mm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
in college, I majored in biology, but it's not what I want to do. But I want to get into an internship, but it's been past like 4 years since I graduated, and I want to know if there are any tips for any internships that don't look at past graduation.
I'd say like the biggest tip, Malcolm, is to not directly ask for the internship first. It's like you
Okay.
want to get to know people. You want them, most of all, to get to know you and how helpful you are. just like nonstop helpful kind of thing. Um, and then hopefully they will ask you, and then you can say, yeah, internship would be great, or you can ask them later. Um, yeah, because the thing is, especially coming from me, with my own studio, it's like we have a wonderful place to work right now. And it's always nervous, there's always nervous jitters if a new person comes in. Will this person work with everybody else? That kind of thing. Will we still be as happy? So if they get to know you first, then it becomes much easier. Now, how do you get them to get to know you? Right? It's like, okay, what reason can I have to come and just visit, maybe drop something off or whatever? Um, for me, I don't even know if I should say this story. But yeah, why not? It's totally genuine. After Lightbox Expo, um, Mike Mignola, one of my artistic heroes, was like saying all this nice stuff about Lightbox Expo. And since I helped to run Lightbox Expo, I was like, oh, that's great. And I messaged him and I was like, um, hey, I did this drawing for you. I just wanted to drop it off. Uh, just a little thank you about Lightbox Expo. If you don't have time to see me, it's all good. I'll just drop it off. Something very, very low pressure like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Fast forward, got to hang out with Mike Mignola in his home, talking to him for like 2.5 hours, looking through his whole entire art collection, looking through originals, and actually ending up exchanging artwork in the end. Oh my God. So there you go. Thanks so much for your question, Malcolm.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Bobby, for answering it.
Great. Why don't we go on to another question on Slido?
On Slido over here? Sure. Dominic asks, how often should I practice my fundamentals? Not sure how to balance this with my personal projects. Also, awesome meeting you at Lightbox. Thanks, Dominic.
Oh, right on. How often should I practice my fundamentals? The more, the better. Yeah. Generally, I don't know how much I practice my fundamentals right now. What about you, Miss A?
Fundamentals,
Or anything that you consider fundamentals, because there can be so many different versions.
life drawing is one of them. Is life drawing a fundamental?
I guess so, yeah. I would put it in there.
Sometimes in the morning, I schedule like half an hour just to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much make time for that.
Oh,
There
Night
is-
Wolf.
Night Wolf.
You gotta mute your,
You gotta mute your
something there.
something there.
Echo.
Echo.
Wonder if we can
Let's see if we can
Let's
mute him.
see if we can mute him.
for now.
All right. Sweet. I'm getting the hang of this.
Sorry, Nightwolf. But yeah, just making a time in your day to just do the fundamentals. I think that's like the best way for me. And then after that, I would have like big chunks to do my own personal stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and also obviously work stuff.
Yeah, but that, like, of course, in the beginning of your career, fundamentals ideally should play a much bigger role. You should probably focus more on fundamentals than actually creating your own imaginative stuff, really.
I think that also I like to use fundamental exercise time when I'm solving a problem on a piece. Whenever I run into a roadblock on a picture that I'm working on and that I'm in love with, I'm just like, oh man, like the perspective is wrong. Okay. So instead of like fighting with it, I'll be like, I might just go watch a couple of like introduction to perspective videos on YouTube or just like brush up on that. So sometimes it kind of like comes and goes as part of the process of making something creative.
Yeah, I love copying things in a way where I'm trying to recreate them. So you go through a lot of different fundamentals there when you're trying to do that. Um, and then the other thing I do is I take lessons. I'm watching lessons. And actually, most of the time, those lessons that you watch, it's like just painting and drawing and just trying to draw and paint better. Okay, you'll learn quite slow, I feel. If you are doing that plus fundamentals and really studying structure and light and all this other stuff, all these other fundamentals, you'll learn a lot quicker. And if you take lessons, then all of a sudden it's just turbo speed. And that's what I'm all about is, you know, effectiveness, efficiency.
Efficiency.
Makes a lot of sense. Do we have a question over on Discord?
Yeah, by Nightwolf. Let's see.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to unmute Nightwolf there.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, Nightwolf.
Yes. Hey, Nightwolf.
Wonderful. Sorry about that.
Do you have headphones
Do you
on?
have headphones on?
I do not. I'm actually going through a speakerphone, if you will. Perhaps I can take it off that. I'm not really sure how to do this.
Yeah, if you do
Yeah, if you do
headphones, then we won't have the
headphones, then we
echo.
won't have the echo.
Give me 1 second. I think I can pop those in for you.
Sure.
Sure.
Just come back on when you're
Just
ready.
come back on.
All right.
Should we ask another one?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so from Slido here, we have Kiri Gabriella asks, when are the recordings from Lightbox going to be available to view?
Great question. So
We all want to know.
we probably get one of these emails in about every 5 minutes. I don't know. But we are working on them. So here's what's taking so long. Number one is we had a lot of microphones on desks or whatever, and people would have to speak into the microphone. And a lot of artists didn't. So the audio is like really soft for one person, really loud for another, or it goes in and out because they're moving their heads around and they're not talking into the microphone. However, Lightbox 2.0, 2020, I plan on having headsets for everybody so that we can record that audio really well. The other part is the exposure. You know, when you have a lit up screen and people beside the screen, one is going to show up well, the other one generally won't show up that well. So next year, I'm also looking into having better lighting for the speakers as well. So anyways, long story short, the talks were amazing. The recordings were a little hurting, and I'm trying to make sure that the really good quality that all the good quality content everybody had, will be well respected and shown in the best way possible.
Mhm.
It is coming.
Yeah.
When?
coming.
I don't know. I don't know. I should be this month.
Yeah. Slowly.
I think we have Nightwolf back.
Oh, great.
I got to unmute.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Well, yeah, if you want to unmute your mic,
Or you can click that.
there we go. We can
Is
hear
that
you now.
better?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Wonderful. Jesus, I'm
Perfect.
showing my age here. So I guess my question is that my art training comes from a fine arts graduation from high school, and I've been through 10 years of going, regular work, and I don't really quite know where to start with my getting back into the swing of things. I really, really want to get back into a professional level. Never was there, but I want to get there, and everything I do seems to lead me astray. There's so much to chew on, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you had any advice on that, and I'm lost. Everything I try seems to make my drawing digress into a different level that's not pleasant to my eye.
Well, How old are you right now, by the way, if you mind me asking?
I'm going to be 31 this week.
Oh,
I've done
you're
hard
young.
work, so I
You're
feel
young,
old.
my friend. You're young. Holy
Yeah.
smokes. Let me tell you something, okay? One of our instructors on schoolism, Jason Seiler, painted for Time Magazine and Rolling Stone and all this stuff. He has a course called The Art of Character on schoolism. There was an ex-student. Back then, he signed up for Jason's course, 70 years old, retired. Now that he's retired, he's going to pursue his real dreams, his real passion, to be an artist. Took Jason's course, and then by the end of it, a few months later, he was getting jobs through, his art. Isn't that
That is
amazing?
unreal.
So it
That's
really is.
crazy.
There are no. I don't feel like age really matters. It's just more of how much rust is on those learning gears in your head. Not just,
A lot.
right? A lot of it could be habitual kind of stuff because you're just not used to sitting there and learning. I would get, I would, be very conscious of that and embrace the boredom that you might feel, from sitting there and just getting kind of like back into classroom version of yourself again, and just really, really learn to love that. And the other part to it, because learning stuff is great, the other part to it is that you want to engulf yourself into the art community again. So talking to
Right.
people, just like talking to us here, or talking to people on forums like ArtStation, or coming to a place like Lightbox Expo, where you can meet people in person and really grow your network there. Because in the end, whether we like it or not, a lot of help, a lot of times, comes from the people that you also know.
Right.
But it's all doable. It's all so doable. Because it's like you have, I'm assuming you got arms, fingers, hands, eyes, legs, things that work, that the average person has, and that's all you need.
Well, wonderful. I guess I just need to find a place to start and start chewing away at it.
Right on. Well,
Thank
hopefully
you so
this chew
much.
will help you chew away at your other stuff.
See what you
Sorry,
did.
I had
Good
to do
one.
that. All right. Thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
Should we go to another one on Slido?
Yeah.
Any tips for coming up with personal ideas? I sometimes feel like I paint stuff just to upload on social media, and I have a hard time finding what I like to draw. That's from Anonymous.
Ah. What do you think about that one, Masay? Personal
Personal
ideas.
ideas. It has to come
mean,
from
I
the
would.
heart. Oh, sorry?
It's a good. No, I was gonna kind of rephrase for you because you brought it up earlier, like how you can combine a couple of different things to make something that's uniquely your personal idea. Maybe you could expand a little bit on that because I think that's really, really smart.
I think it, like, I guess it sounds cheesy, but it does come from the heart. And what I mean by that is, like, you yourself experiences everything that you experience is different from another person's experience. So, like, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, everything kind of like links to who you are as a person, and the ideas that you come up with personally is like what you have absorbed and what you're trying to put out there. I don't know if it sounds like woo woo, but do you know what I mean by
Oh, for sure.
yeah?
For sure. Those are the ones that connect with people the most because it comes from a genuine place. It has some sort of a reflection of your life, right? So, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Um, and a lot of times people might go, well, I don't know. I don't really have much that I could talk about. I haven't really experienced anything. But you have. We've all experienced stuff that connects us all together. Even if lived 10 years and you're 10 years old, you still got a lot of things that we, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, can also relate because we've been there. We've all had dreams, like you ever get into discussion about weird dreams you've had? Totally. You can. I used to think. I used to have the hardest problem talking to people that are far more senior than me because I didn't feel like I had anything in common with them. Especially, also, if they were women, then I would have even less. I would feel like I would have even less in common with them. But we have tons in common. We all dream. We all live this one life. We all have friends, hopefully, some family, hopefully. We all either like or do not like pets. Yeah, so I don't even know. You can take so many parts of your life already, no matter how interesting or boring, and there's stuff there. There's stuff there that you could talk about and create and put into your um, personal ideas. Finding Nemo. That's about a father trying to deal with his son growing up, right? That's everybody can kind of relate to that in one way or another. Anyhow, why don't we?
Yeah,
Move
and
on.
I think like listening to yourself too, like, and knowing what resonates with you, like listening to following your heart, like Massey said, like it can be as simple as like, for me, I love to people watch. Like I love to just go to the mall, and you never know what's gonna like
Hide in the
bring.
bushes. Sorry.
And I hide in the bushes with a high powered lens on my camera. Yeah. Top hat, or a little like
Top
fedora,
hat. I
and
like that.
yeah, the top hat's better than the fedora.
Now you're camouflaged.
See, and that's how I came up with the character, and I started a painting. See, no,
Yeah.
but you just never know what you're gonna fall in love with. Like I picked my kid up from daycare yesterday, and I saw a little 6-year-old girl dressed as a fairy carrying her little baby sister, who was also dressed as a fairy. And I
Aw.
got this wonderful little sketch idea for like a little baby fairy carrying an even smaller baby fairy. And it's just these little moments you can find if you're like really open to finding inspiration all day long. You can see those little moments. I like that.
Yeah,
Or hide in the bushes at the mall. That's always another
Yeah,
option.
that's an option.
this drawing here came. It was inspired by what I was eating.
Really?
Yeah, if you can see the title, it says turnip critter. It started
Oh, that's
off
awesome.
with the idea of a turnip,
Oh,
and
the
then turned into
tail.
this, turned into that, changed, and blah blah blah.
Also, it looks like our studio dog.
Yes, and it's merged with the kind of essence of our French bulldog, Magnus. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's from your life experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all
Do we have
nice.
someone else on Discord who joined us?
Oh, hey.
Jiansu.
Hello,
Hello.
Bonjour.
What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Costas from Greece.
Hello, Costas.
No,
Do you have a question?
no,
No. Okay, cool. Well,
Glad you're here.
welcome from Greece. Right on.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to another Slido question. Patricia asks, is there any book or course that taught you how to use and combine color better, or how light affects color? Sometimes I really need more technical reference.
Oh man, too many. The
Mhm.
one of the best ones was Daichi Tatsumi, Robert Kondo's class.
Yes.
I think everybody at the studio took that class.
Mhm.
Craig Mullen's class. These are on Schoolism because we run Schoolism, so we can watch these classes for free. Kind of, it's work. It's part of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones are fantastic. Sam Nielsen's class, can't forget about that. Lighting Fundamentals with Sam Nielsen is incredible. And then it goes on and on. That's the main thing for me. It wasn't about where did I learn how to, understand light or color. It's more like how many different places, how many different resources, how many different methods did I learn how to do the same thing. I would do that. And just like this painting here, this painting I'm painting in a different way than last week's painting, if you watched that one. Or not last week, the week before. Anyways, the last stream. Learn as many
I feel like
different ways to do the same thing. And that's power. That's powerful.
yeah, like I've taken, your digital painting class. I've taken 3 or 4 other introductory, almost beginner level in digital painting classes, and then you take a class on character development, and then you take another class on character development, and it feels like what resonates with you and what feels easy for your brain and your hands to create sticks with you,
I
and
also
the
want
stuff
to
that just isn't for you doesn't work.
I also want to give a big shout out to James Gurney because his
Mm.
color and light book is phenomenal as well.
Mm-hmm.
What other ones? Richard Schmidt, Alla Prima. He is insanely thoughtful and incredible as well. Um, my only thing is, those books were fantastic, and there's definitely a place for them. My only thing is how I work and what makes sense to me is that I want to see the video. I want to see the brushstrokes going down and seeing the painting develop. I want there to be an explanation to go along with the timing of them doing the certain actions. For me, that makes way more sense on like how to truly understand it, how to truly absorb it, and so that's why I prefer videos. Um,
Close as you can get to an in-person mentorship, really.
yes, and actually, oh my gosh, I'm working on this crazy class right now, which we hope to have out this month, which is Craig Mullen's next class. This class is kind of like, everybody should watch this class because there's no fast forward in the whole entire course. He's painting one painting from beginning to end, and there's no fast forward, and he's explaining through the whole entire thing, and in between giving a whole bunch of amazing gems of like just art and life and all this stuff. That's coming out,
Oh,
in a few weeks.
we are all looking forward to that for sure.
Yes.
Okay, so another question here. Anonymous asks, do you have a recommendation for what steps to take in order during a painting? Somewhere between the line art and coloring, I lose my sense of progression. That's a good question.
There's no right or wrong way. After going through all these classes, especially talking with Craig Mullins, like, yeah, there is no right or wrong way. Uh, I would love to hear your opinion about this, but I think the best thing is that you learn one way at a time until you really understand it. You have it under your belt, and then you move on to some other way. Because that way, a lot of people they dabble in things. I try a little bit of this. I try a little bit of ZBrush. I try a little bit of that. 6 months later, a year later, they learned nothing. They learn nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They learn how, it's like those people that know how to say, uh, you know, the same word in like 20 different languages. You only know how to say one word. Well, how's that
But
really
you
going to
like,
help?
yeah, like you went deep into ZBrush for like a year.
Yeah, yeah. Just started making some garbage, knew that it's part of the process, and sooner or later, some stuff started to gel, and it was great.
Say, do you have a process that you always follow, or does it change up from painting to painting?
I think it changes up painting to painting, especially depending on the medium as well. When it's traditional, I feel like I'm a lot slower. Like I make a thumbnail, I do like a bunch of sketches.
Yeah, you just
do-
went through Inktober, and like, yeah, big shouts out to you because
Oh,
you were
thanks.
totally tackling something in a way that you don't usually do, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
crushed it. You
Yeah,
did
I'm
a
still
great
working on
job.
it. I'm still gonna try to finish all the prompts, but for that like slowed me down because it, Photoshop there's so many shortcuts. There's so many undos that if you have an error, you can quickly fix that. But for ink paintings, that did not apply at all. So that actually kind of helped me with my digital stuff as well, because then I kind of slowed down, tried to follow my steps that I used to do, the whole thumbnail to sketch to line art to making sure everything is set before you start painting. Because for the ink, once I start painting, I can't change the drawing. But for digital, it's like once you start painting, you can like adjust a lot of things. So to skip that whole like gray area where I'm just like noodling around, I think it's important to kind of, like you said, like kind of nail everything down first. Do it so many times that you kind of like, it's like second nature to you.
Especially with ink, it's not like watercolor even, because like watercolor, I feel like it has much more versatility in kind of erasing things.
Yeah.
Ink is just there,
Yeah.
right? So like, I'm sure you must have had to think way more steps in advance than if you're doing digital painting.
Yeah, it's like, where do I need to wet first? Where do I need to mask it so the white stays? Like, where am I going to put my blacks? Because that's the last thing I'm going to put down. So different. But it's fun. It kind of changes the thinking part of my brain. Like, kind of like, switching gears. It's good exercise.
Actually, and totally like off topic here, but I just remembered Masay and I, we will be at Taffy tomorrow. Taffy is the
Toronto Animation Arts Festival International.
Yes, in Toronto, right? So,
Yeah.
if anybody's out there in Toronto, come and see us, come hang out. Hopefully, Kay will be there as well. The legend, the myth, Kay. She might just make an appearance.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's going to be a really good time.
Oh, thanks. Well, yeah, it will be a good time. I guarantee it. Well, I think it will. This was a great time. So I want to thank, of course, you and Masay, Matt and Masay, as well as Patricia.
Yay, Patricia.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for helping us out with Discord. This was great. And everybody that joined in and asked questions. This was wonderful.
Yeah, Discord's fun. It feels like,
That's really cool.
There's an actual person on the other side of the screen asking these questions.
Fantastic.
It feels more personal.
So that's it, everybody. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Now, a huge part of the success of this channel and everything that I do is because of you, the listener. So thank you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and then press the notification button, because that way you'll get instant notification the next time I put out a new video. Thank you very much.